Partner Machines number 69, where military genius goes up against science genius, at least model-wise. I'm not even a good tactician, and Kurion, my opponent, isn't exactly deep into science. Commandant Irusk and Commander m&tM are, however, so this was probably a fight for governmental fundings. We're playing Killing Fields at 35 points. Enjoy! So Kurion has got Commander m&tM with a Defender, a Stormclad and a Lancer. He's also got a unit of gun mages with Dude, Journey John, Arlen Strangeways, Squire and a Stormcaller. Irusk brings Alexander the Spriggan, Boris the Kodiak, a Grey Loturnian, a min unit of Battle Mechanics, Widowmakers, Chaos Eliminators, the Great Bears of Gallows Wood, Koldun Lord, Saxon Auric and the War Dog. First turn goes to Signar, and Nemo allocates a focus to the Stormclad and Lancer. His army then runs up ahead, while Nemo and his retinue of spellcasters just advances. The Lancer has Arcane Shield going on himself, courtesy of Journey John. Arlen power boosts the Defender, which then runs. Irusk allocates no focus. The Koldun Lord power boosts Alexander. Irusk advances slightly, slaps superiority on Boris and Iron Flesh on the Great Bears, and my Jacks then run up. The Turnian moves and spreads a lot of Blizzard love before the Widowmakers advance. The leader attempts to shoot Strangeways. He is in range, and quite ludicrously, she drops him in one shot. This game could have hardly started off any better. That's one spellcaster down for Nemo's power token collection. The others snipe some boxes off the Lancer. The Great Bears run over to the left. I hope they can mincemeat the Stormclad. Saxon Auric advances into the forest and shoots the Lancer for no effect. The Mechanics advance, the Eliminators run up the hill to flank. Can you spot my mistake before I go ahead and tell you? I'll give you some seconds. Round 2, Signar's turn. Nemo converts the power tokens and allocates a point to the Defender. Journey John upkeeps Arcane Shield. The Lancer advances towards my heavies. The Stormclad moves over to my left hand flag, dipping a toe in. The Defender then runs over to the center. Journey John advances, shoots his gun and misses. The gun mages advance into the forest, firing at and missing the Great Bears. Stormcaller advances onto the center flag, wants to fry a Widowmaker but fails his check. Nemo activates, advances and casts a Chain Lightning at the Widowmakers, hitting with the reroll and frying 3 of them. The last one, however, never like the others and makes his command check. Then Nemo casts Voltaic Snare onto Alexander. Right, that was my mistake, leaving my jacks so close together. At the end of his turn, he scores 2 control points. Alright, my turn. Time for sweet Kadoran Vindication. Irusk allocates a focus to Boris. Alexander goes first, tries to hit and damage the Lancer with his grenades, but doesn't accomplish much. Then Boris goes, advances onto Alexander and initiates a double-handed throw, which succeeds. He aims at the Eliminators, misses of course, and Alexander deviates to his current position. He's closer to the flag, and that's the best I could have hoped for. Sort of. The Koldun Lord moves and tosses an Ice Cage at the Defender, which hits. The Mechanics run. The Grey Loturnian proceeds with freezing the Defender and clouding Irusk. Irusk advances, feeds, casts an Hospitable Ground and Iron Flesh on himself. Saxon Auric charges and kills the Stormcaller. The Eliminators charge in on the Lancer and punch some damage through with their combo strikes. The War Dog runs. The Great Bears choose to ignore the Stormclad and charge the Gun Mages, leaving only the normal leader alive. The Widowmaker tries to pop the Junior, yet fails. I score 1 control point. Round 3, Signar's turn. Nemo allocates 1 focus to the Defender and 1 to the Lancer. Shield is upkept, stationary is shaken. The last Gun Mage runs for his life towards my left flag. The Stormclad stands still, aims and fires his electro stuff at Kolsk, hits and disables him, but Kolsk happens to be in great mood today and toughs it out. But when Volkov pats him on the shoulder congratulatory, the Electroleap sadly fries him and he's not tough. Journey John charges Saxon and misses. The Lancer advances, eats a small freeze strike from the Eliminators, and then stabs Boris in his back arc for some damage. Nemo activates, Voltaic snares Boris, and throws a chain lightning at the War Dog, taking it out, as well as one Grey Lord and putting damage on Irusk. Overall, a very bad turn for tough rolls. Nemo then casts Disruption Field on the Defender, which walks into combat with Saxon, but misses him. He only scores one control point, putting him at 3. Carter's turn. Irusk upkeeps Iron Flash, allocates nothing. In a serious brain fart, I activate Saxon just to give Pathfinder to the Great Bears. Then the Great Bears run to engage Nemo. Besides that, where did my Eliminators go? They were still there in Nemo's turn, and a unit with such defensive abilities doesn't just vanish into thin air. And the Widowmaker is gone now too. However, I can't be missing a slide, otherwise Korean would have won by scenario before I run out of pictures. Anyway, Alexander advances and sits on the flag. The Coldon Lord and the Turnian then all advance to frostbite the Journeyman, but all they succeed in doing is sending Saxon Auric home in a pine fridge. Mechanic Chief issues the charge order, but the Grunts still can't dent that Arm 21 Lancer. Irusk advances up into the forest and I cast Airburst, which also fails to kill the Journeyman. I score another control point for a total of 2. Round 4. Nemo allocates 3 focus to the Lancer and some to the Defender, upkeeps Disruption Field. He then goes first and fries the remaining 2 Great Mirrors to death with a rerollable Chain Lightning before advancing to personal safety. The Stormclad advances a bit. The Defender moves and whacks the remaining 2 Grey Lords. The Lancer moves, ignoring the Mechanic's freeze strikes, and zaps Boris's Cortex with his shield and skewers the Coldon Lord with his spear. Ugly! Kurion then scores another 2 control points for a total of 5. My turn. Irusk upkeeps superiority and Iron Flash, yet allocates no focus. Alexander is out of his control area, Boris has no Cortex. Boris activates and heavily pummels the Lancer, however he sadly misses with a chain attack. Alexander advances straight towards the center. The Mechanics run and seize the zone. Irusk activates, casts Airburst in a last-ditch effort to take Nemo out, yet does not manage it. I think I also threw a grind at the Defender, but that's not really important. I score my 3rd control point. Round 5. Nemo camps focus, calls it a day. He scores 2 more control points for a total of 7. Nemo wins! In hindsight, started off nicely but went south fast, mostly because of playing errors. I consider it my biggest blunder that I, playing Nemo quite frequently, still left my jacks so close together. Had the Kodiak gone over to the left, or even sending him straight down the center, would have been a better option. My VIP in this game was the Widowmaker who had shot at Arlen right at the start. The Bears are a close second. My VOP was definitely Alexander, who was reduced to a 10-point table weight most of the time. With regards to changing my army list, what's obvious is the lack of a backbone unit here. It's likely better to switch the Great Bears and Min Mechanics out for a minimum unit of Iron Fang Pikemen or Kayazi Assassins with UAE, though in this matchup, I definitely prefer the Pikemen. At any rate, we're slowly catching up with my material. I haven't done a lot of reports since this one, though I did play games and went to tournaments, but I'm also planning to slightly restructure and improve Martin the Machines' content. The next one, which at the time of this screening is probably just about 3 months ago, will be about my first games with Isaac Harkovich. A very educational lesson against Jarl and some pretty epic action against Baldur. But until then, farewell.